This is WWE 2K24. We're here on Xbox Series X. Be sure to like the video. Subscribing is great as well. So this is this year's wrestling game, where we get a host of new features, improvements, and adjustments to the existing formula, while being very much on par with what we've seen over the last few years with the rebirth and reboot of the WWE franchise, which again happened a few years ago. So what are we getting here? 4K resolution, 60 FPS, pretty standard as per usual. Local action up to 4, local multiplayer I guess up to 6 depending on the situation, and online multiplayer up to 8. So that's kind of the setup we have going on here, and what you can expect from this particular wrestling experience. So let's talk a bit about the new features, the changes, and the action while enjoying this custom 30-man battle royale experience. Custom characters are present within this game if you're not familiar with that, and yeah, it's kind of a lot of fun to see them competing and in action. And these were all downloaded, and there's full streams showcasing some more of this, which are quite fun to watch, and I definitely think you should check out. So the first big kind of thing here is the 2K Showcase of the Immortals. This showcases moments from the 40-year history of WrestleMania. It's kind of like a timeline, and you get to jump across these big events and kind of hit these big moments with some iconic classic characters. So this kind of replaces, I would say, the focused John Cena mode from the previous year, as they had a big John Cena build-up. We couldn't even see him in it because he's invisible, so that was a bit of a shocker. So this year they replaced that with something you can see, which is the Showcase of Legends. The iconic roster has a bunch of big names, including Andre the Giant, Stone Cold, John Cena, and many other well-liked individuals and characters from the history of the WWE. Keep in mind that like every year there's like a roster of characters that comes in, there's DLC stuff you can grab, there's custom characters people make, all kinds of different options for how you can enjoy your wrestling experience and action. So after that, we have guest referee battles, where you can be the ref and engage with the action, kind of choose how the matches will go, and how they will shape up in your own vision and way and styling. We've got casket matches, where you lock an opponent in a coffin to win, so that's kind of entertaining. Similar to that, but slightly different, are ambulance matches, where there are caskets. Well, instead of caskets, there are ambulances. So it's the same as the casket one, but you're able to put them into an ambulance instead, and then they kind of drive away. I also want to highlight that there's a bunch of new viewing angles and stuff. You can actually like have like a free cam, so you can see around the action, which is pretty great. Tons of different stage options, adjustments. Kind of new. I don't believe this was here in previous years, or at least I certainly didn't see it prior. Absolutely love this sort of option and selection here. You can also choose blood. It's off by default, but you can turn it on if you'd like to. Gauntlet matches are a new thing in the Battle Royale, but with submissions being present. So that's kind of a cool feature if you like the styling of Battle Royale, which itself can be 10, 20, 30 kind of competitors. Male and female are split. I'm hoping someday down the road they kind of allow like mixed gender Battle Royale stuff would be kind of fun. I can sort of understand why, but I'm also kind of like, let us have some fun. Right? Who cares? Backstage Brawl is a thing that's been kind of reinvigorated with this one, so that offers things like an elevator stuff and some new battle sequences and ways to compete there, including who can fight there. So Brawl Backstage sounds kind of cool. Royal Rumble now has 8-player online matches in the 30 superstar matches. We get your regular modes, you know, 1-on-1, 2-on-2, war games, tournaments, custom matches. You can also see that with online lobbies, setting up battles and competitions for you and your friends, or finding random other people online. So that's kind of cool. Then there is the My Rise, which continues. This is where you ascend from a recruit to a champion. Men and women's divisions are present. So that one kind of the same as usual. You kind of have your wrestler, you run into the league, there's like story-based stuff. It's not necessarily like cutting edge in terms of being some crazy mode, but it's kind of fun. It's kind of cool. It's kind of a neat option, so you might like my rise, but that one, at least from what I was kind of seeing, about the same as usual. My faction, Superstars and Legends from every era coming together. So this is the card-based mode. So in my faction, you are collecting cards and doing like card trading, opening packs, everything like that. Ranked quick play is now available alongside regular quick play. We've got faction wars, weekly towers, proving grounds. You're kind of collecting the cards and then putting them into like rosters, men's, women's. You can have a coach. My coach is a dog. I don't know how I unlocked that from a pack. I think the dog's called Ruby or something. So that's kind of cool. Yeah, so Ruby's kind of an interesting kind of trainer person that's running the team. So that's kind of sweet. And then we have the My Faction elements that go beyond that, where you're kind of competing with others in a bunch of different ways. So it's basically just trading cards, but cards with a complex system. And I believe most people are probably pretty familiar with My Faction overall, but thought I'd highlight it in case you've never played this game before, I suppose. There's the WWE Universe, where you're building feuds and creating action like never before. There's new cutscenes, double title matches, and more. It's sort of like a create kind of sequences and setups and matches kind of mode, so that one's sort of interesting. I don't really see what's too different there, aside from just having new interactive elements. We've got the My GM, where you're able to become a general manager, draft an elite roster of superstars, create larger-than-life match setups. That one, kind of pick a GM option, go in there, do the setups, do the creations, run it as if you are running a part of the WWE, which is cool for those that are into that technical element of the experience and the action. Yeah, kind of a nice option. Then there's the Creation Suite. So the Creation Suite is where you get crazy cool characters like you're seeing here, like Glorilla or Ghostface or Mario. And they've got a distinct visual style. I feel like the lighting in this arena is really odd too. But this is where you're able to make your own custom characters, or you can also download what other people have made online. That's where I got these again, downloaded them, just available. Now this mode, this feature, I guess you would say better, is really slow this year. I don't know if I remember it being faster in the past, but it takes a long time to kind of like pick a character, download a character, edit them, adjust them. Like it's really cumbersome and slow this year. I don't know why. It didn't even work until the actual full launch of the game, because there was like an early access period and I had to re-download the whole game with an update in order to fix that, because it would just crash and try to download anything, which is probably a little frustrating for those early adopters, and I kind of wanted to highlight that. This year, definitely a lot of crashes I've noticed in situations like during matches, during menu stuff. A little annoying. And server issues. Lots of server issues where the servers are kind of just like, they're shut off sometimes they're not working. That was really, really present and more visible this year than in usual times. So outside of creating characters in the Creation Suite, you can make your own arenas, entrances, you can import images into the game. You really can just personalize every part of it, and you can do that with a lot of the modes too. You can personalize the game modes and the way you wrestle and compete with others, and yeah, just sort of a full suite of options. We talked about the online. There's a ton of differing arenas that you can enjoy, some returning, some new. So match options are pretty in-depth as well. The new camera angles are awesome. Seriously, having a free cam like this, especially when I do presentation streams and do these fun royales, it's kind of great. It makes a massive difference for me when I am competing. And my character should eventually come into the ring. I don't know when, but eventually my character should pop up here. So I would say, gameplay-wise, there is a fair selection of new things and new changes, but it very much is in line with what we've seen in previous years. I wouldn't say this is a massive change-up or improvement upon what we've seen in the past. Some nice, I guess you would say, quality of life stuff. Some cool new things like the referee inclusion is kind of a fun mode, kind of a fun switch up. I do like basically the ambulance and or coffin options, kind of an enjoyable thing. You know, we've got cage matches and you can pick up like items and smash people, which is cool and all, but it is nice to have these extra little fun things. Then the other modes, they're really quite the same. I think this is, you know, I do kind of feel that for sports games. They're quite iterative, and I think this kind of falls in line with that. But for the general modes, they very much are practically the same. I know you could sit there and, you know, nitpick this thing or that thing, and I'm sure some people will, and that's totally cool. Love to be informed if I've missed any crazy new features for those. But really, it's just kind of the same as last year. You know, you could do your card game, you could do your character rising up through the ranks, you've got your universe stuff. It's very much the modes you know and probably are familiar with, and they've just got like an extra thing here or there that you can do. Just, yeah, not that crazy. It feels very much quite like the previous year. And from a visual standpoint, I will say that I think the game looks pretty great. You know, I do think this game looks really good. For custom characters, you're able to make some just spectacular options. And I was a little worried initially when I was seeing the character models in the download area, but when you get them into these rings, it's like, yeah, they look really good. And I love seeing like the sweat on the characters too. It just makes them feel like they're actually competing and fighting one another. It's awesome, man. I mean, it's really detailed. These camera angles are a lot of fun because you get to look into things and, you know, kind of be more in depth. I'm not even kidding. Like, you can like look right into people and you can fly under the map. Wow, this is weird. This one is different. Huh. Usually the skybox is like this weird field in the middle of nowhere. That's kind of funny. I wanted to highlight that on this one. But yeah, usually you can fly off into the middle. And it's like the background's just this grassy field. And it's like, huh? It's very strange. But this one just looks like it's a dark box. I didn't know they changed the skybox between the different maps. That's kind of entertaining. But yeah, I love the free cam and the changes there. And I would say, like I was mentioning, visually, it looks about the same too. Maybe a little bit better, but sort of like a negligible change in visual aesthetics. It's not like they're pushing the tech boundaries this year. Very much in line with what we saw with the reboot and the rebirth of this franchise a few years ago. Visually, it's about the same. And if you do wonder if it looks more glowy than usual, that's just God. But it's also, this map has like a bit of a yellow tinge to it at times. So you might think that that's a thing. But yeah, the character models look great. It does seem like stamina is a bit different this year. The Royal Rumble was a little... like, I had to actually adjust a lot of settings this year for the Royal Rumble, and from what I remember, I usually just jump in and play. So it does seem like stamina and stuff is adjusted quite a bit. Fighting and hitting things, pretty standard. You can click your buttons to do different moves. There's also the right stick you can kind of adjust and move along in order to interact and kind of like do different moves as well. You've got some systems that are kind of button combos, you know, pushing someone out of the ring, you gotta hit some buttons, or trying to defend yourself from getting knocked out of the ring, you hit some buttons. Very much similar to last year, minor adjustments here or there for that. We have some new, kind of look like animations and moves here or there, but as I mentioned, this year is very much, to me, iterative. I mean, if you love the series, you're gonna buy it regardless. If you're new to it, it's pretty well polished, pretty well put together. I'm sure they'll clean things up too from any issues that have kind of been popping up in regards to some crashes here or there. It's just like, yeah, this represents the WWE for the current era. I think they do a decent job with it. They're pretty generally enjoyable, fun games. Is it going to be of interest to you? Yeah, I mean, if you keep buying them, you'll keep buying them. If you're kind of intrigued, just skip a couple of years, it's not a bad one to get into, and I think you can have fun with it. And I will just have some non-commentary gameplay so you can enjoy some of that in action.
Ripped down to the canvas. Oh no, stop to the arm. Who's going to enter next? Number 22 next to the Rumble. These are prime spots. Well, now this should be interesting. An exciting addition to this match. Listen to this crowd count the next one in. What do you expect? Here he is, and he's geared up. I would get out of his way if I were in the ring. Someone who could change the complexion of this match in a major way. He's turning the tables. Just turn that around. Back to the upper room they go. Here we go. The odds are starting to get a lot better to win at this action stage. Get down to the nitty-gritty. He's lost some of his ring now. There he is. He looks focused on the task at hand. You can see the fire in his eyes. Cross-landing powerbomb. This very well could lead to elimination. Right to the esophagus. Scoop slam, making it look easy. Saw it coming and got out of there. Rights and lefts, elbows, knees, all of them weak. Listen to this crowd count the next one in. Here they come. Could very well get ducked out here. Ooh, kick. Oh, smashing the jaw. That takes them down. Shattering spine buster. Look at all these boots to the face. There's a big one. Ooh. Next entrance getting ready to come out. Who's it gonna be? Real estate's at a premium right now in the ring. Here he is, guys, on a mission and ready for action. Setting up for it, looks like a powerbomb. Wait, no.